Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. You search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Make sure you check out all the shows here on the Locked On Sports Atlanta network. This is A to Z. I've hit hard with John Chuckery, ATL Day Ones, Jarvis Davis, and Tanisha Batiste. Braves postcast with Grant McCauley after every Braves game. Of course, you're going to get a big one tonight after DeGrom and Max Fried going mano-y-mano. And Locked On Falcons, Locked On Hawks, all of it right here. Subscribe to that YouTube channel as well, nearing 3,000 subscribers. Appreciate all the love and support, guys. Make sure you're staying with us every single day, and thanks for making Locked On Sports Atlanta part of your everyday listen here on Locked On Sports. All right, let's get to the most indispensable Braves player, because Jim Bowden of The Athletic wrote a column, and, you know, whenever I see these headlines, it's obviously designed to make you click on it, but you know, you do the exercise in your head. The most indispensable player for all 30 teams in Major League Baseball, or whatever it was. I think it was all teams in a playoff push. I guess it was all teams above 500, whatever it may be. And anyway, I just started thinking about the Braves and who would be the most indispensable player, and kind of going through a list of like my top 2 or 3 and going, okay, this just makes sense. And I thought, you know, again, indispensable are guys that do more than just fill up the stat sheet, right? Like, these are guys that also have I guess a leadership component to them, or, you know, a certain clubhouse component that's hard to replicate. And so the first thought in my head was Dansby Swanson, right? Makes sense. I mean, obviously he does produce when you need him to produce. He's an above average defender. Clearly he's part of the glue since Freddie left for this team. He's the guy that everybody looks to as one of the more veteran seasoned guys around here, or at least longest tenured Braves for that matter. And it seems to be a guy that feels pretty indispensable at this point. Then I thought a little bit more, you know, you could go with somebody in a bullpen when it comes to indispensable, you know, maybe it's Kensley Jansen, maybe locking down the back end of the bullpen. Having a secure ninth inning is super important. Look what Mariano Rivera did for the Yankees all those years. I mean, it's, you know, one of those things where when you have a high-end closer, it just makes life so much easier for managers. Hence, last night, Buck Showalter brings Edwin Diaz in the 8th inning of a game he felt he had to win at the time, which was a 1-run game before it got bet. Having that level of closer that you have that kind of faith in, yeah, that's super important. And then you could even go to somebody like Travis d'Arnaud, you know, somebody who handles the pitching staff, you know, a guy who comes up with big hits at times, and somebody like that. So those are the names that I all had in my head as guys that I thought would be pretty indispensable. Well, Jim Bowden gave that title to Michael Harris. Here's the quick write-up. Harris, who signed an 8-year, $72 million extension, is a clear frontrunner for National League Rookie of the Year. 21-year-old has been a huge difference maker for the Braves, both sides of the ball defensively. He's played Gold Glove caliber center field, as demonstrated by the fact he's in the 91st percentile in both outs above average and outfield jumps, to go along with 93rd percentile in sprint speed. At the plate, he showed a great combination of both power and speed, belting 12 home runs, stealing 13 bases in 13 attempts. Made the pitching staff better due to run prevention, taking away singles and doubles on a regular basis. He extended the Braves lineup by adding more speed, power, and on-base skills. By the way, Travis d'Arnaud got a special mention. And it's true, Harris does all those things. And I'm not saying he's wrong for calling him indispensable. He certainly has provided a level of spark to this team, both offensively and defensively, that was very, very hard to see coming. And the fact that he's done it and made it so easily done to me is quite impressive. And with that, you know, this is a guy who, now that's going to be here for the next 8 years, they are truly looking at as one of the cornerstone pieces, along with Riley, Acuna, Albies, and Olsen. That's what the Braves have done, is put together their cornerstone. Now, again, I don't want to be the negative guy or the naysayer. For me, probably wouldn't have extended him this early. Probably would have wanted to see at least a full season beyond this before I give him this contract. The Braves obviously have a ton of faith. They think this sticks. They think 70-plus games is enough for them to believe that this guy is worth $9 million a year. And maybe he is. And at the end of the day, is it hard to argue that $9 million is a terrible contract? Because if he stinks in 3 years, guess what? You can dump him, and you're only losing $40 million. Right? I mean, that's essentially what $40 million over the final 4 years, or $36 million over the final 4 years, whatever it may be. And that's a manageable number in baseball. Hell, if they tried to get rid of Ozuna, they'd be giving away $20 million right now over the course of 2 years, 1 year. $40 million over the course of 2 years. Like, it's, they'd love to be able to dump Ozuna. If Ozuna was making $9 million, he'd be gone already. That's easy. He'd be DFA. That's an easy fix. So, well, I think it's a little bit early. At this point, can you really question Alex Anthopoulos on anything, guys? I mean, it is, it's really, really hard to question Alex in any size, way, shape, or form. All right, we are coming up on a seismic shift in college football, which may very much be like live golf. But first, a word from our friends at Coffee AM. Coffee never tasted so good, guys. Coffee AM, an Atlanta-based small batch coffee roaster that makes some of the best, most tastiest coffees you'll ever get your hands on. This box comes to your house. You're going to open it up. It's going to smack you right in the face. It's going to smell glorious. Why? Because there are coffees from all over the world. Kenya, Sumatra, Tanzania, places you haven't heard of. They're so fresh because most of their coffees are roasted and shipped on the same day or very close to it. And they only roast current crop specialty grade coffees. Organic, fair trade, direct trade, expertly crafted blends, espressos, coffees, and gourmet teas, and a whole lot more. And it's roasted right here in your backyard. Go to coffeeam.com/lockedon today and take a full look at their menu of coffees, teas, and gift sets at coffeeam.com/lockedon. Use the coupon code lockedon at checkout to get 15% off your first order of coffees, teas, and gift sets. Coffee AM, the best small batch coffee roaster in America. I have long applauded here the Live Golf Tour for what they've done. I am all in on them. I think it's a great thing. I think the PGA is being rigid and foolish and ridiculous, as I've said several times over. But what is about to happen with the college football playoff and their board of managers is very similar. So there were 11 college presidents and chancellors who make up the CFP board. They met via Zoom to begin a discussion, which could have the CFP breaking off from the NCAA and running football, the sport of college football, and being governed outside the NCAA. It's coming, folks. Now, they were very cautious in saying it's so early in the stages, it's a complicated process. This is going to resemble a marathon, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, right. They'll quickly get their ducks in a row. Why? Because there's money to be made that doesn't go to the NCAA. And who is not going to follow the college football play? If you think Ohio State's going to go, nah, we're good. We'll stay with the NCAA. Michigan? Nah, we're good. Oh, yeah. Absolutely must be Oregon. Definitely Georgia and Bama, by the way. I mean, we're loyal to the NCAA. We're staying here. Come on. Ridiculous. College football playoff makes their own thing. Everybody goes. Everybody goes who wants to win in the college football playoff. And guess what? Then the NCAA can come up with their Division II sort of bracket thing that they'll use for the rest of the group of 5 schools that stay in the NCAA, and they'll crown another NCAA champion, and then we'll have a college football playoff champion that everybody will pay attention to. Adapt or die, NCAA. Adapt or die. That's what this is about more than anything. It's coming, and we should all get ready for it. They leave the NCAA. They get to make their own rules. They are not being stuck to a decision-making process that has to include, schools like South Alabama, Central Florida, even Tulane. I mean, these schools that are group of 5 schools, or even beyond that, FCS, FBS, whatever one it is. They're all really small schools in the WAC and the MEAC and the MAC or whatever. All those schools that aren't really group of 5 schools. MAC is, but you get the point. So they can do this stuff independently and operate on their own. I think it's great. The NCAA's smartest move is to quickly pivot, come up with something that keeps them there, forces them to stay, gives them more autonomy to do what they want, allows them to make 4 super conferences and create and expand their own playoff, whatever they want. I mean, all that stuff is there for them to do. The NCAA can hang on to it, or they could play rigid and go, well, no, we want to do things our way. And you know what they can end up with? Nothing. Only the NCAA can stop this. right? They're the only ones who can, and the only way they can do it is by coming to the table and saying, we want to play ball with you. What do you want? We're willing to give it to you. That's how they stay connected. Otherwise, CFP will rule. It's coming, folks. Get ready. Speaking of coming, basketball season on its way. We have the Hawks schedule out. I want to go through a big part of the schedule and point out some major spots that are going to test the Hawks' mettle coming up in 2022, 2023. That's next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta.